Okay. Okay, we are discussing about mechanism of breathing ma. In the last class, we have discussed how what are the different events that will occur during respiration. That is, the first one is exchange of gases at the lungs. That is between the lungs and the blood capillaries at the lungs. And next, the transportation of respiratory gases from lungs to tissues. And the next, the exchange of gases at the tissues. That is oxygen into the tissues and carbon dioxide into the blood. And next, again transporting back the carbon dioxide rich blood to the lungs. Okay, and again the exchange of gases, okay, at the lung region. Okay, that is the that these are the total events that will occur during the respiration. And we already discussed about the cellular respiration, where the oxygen, okay, it is utilized for the catabolic process, that is the cellular respiration to yield energy, which is used for different metabolic activities, while we are studying about the respiration in plants. Okay, now that one will not discuss here. The remaining other events will discuss here. The remaining other event, that is exchange of gases. First of all, how the air is brought into the lungs and it is sent outside, and later the exchange of gases at the lung region, and next transport of respiratory gases from lungs to different parts of the body and from different parts of the body to the lungs, and next exchange of gases at the tissues we'll discuss. So first of all, we'll discuss about pulmonary respiration or breathing process. Okay, that is a mechanism of breathing. When you observe the breathing involves two stages. Okay, that is inspiration and expiration. Okay, breathing involves two stages. One is inspiration and the second stage is expiration. Okay, that is what happens during inspiration. Okay, inspiration, during which atmospheric air is drawn in, that is into the lungs. In means here here drawn in. Okay, to which part means that is the lungs. That means whatever the air that is present in the atmosphere, that is taken into the body, into towards the lungs. And this process we are calling it as inspiration. And the second stage of the breathing is expiration. What is meant by expiration? Means expiration by which the alveolar air is released out. That means after the exchange of gases or respiratory gases, okay, in the alveolar region, the carbon dioxide rich alveolar air has to be sent outside. Okay, this phenomenon of releasing the carbon dioxide rich air to outside, we are calling it as expiration. So inspiration and expiration are the two stages or two events that will occur during the breathing. Okay, that is how the inspiration will occur and how the expiration will occur. That is, what are the different events that will occur during inspiration or which helps in intake of air into the lungs, and what are the different events that will occur that will help in a release of air from alveolar cavity to the outside. So what are the different events? First of all, we'll discuss about inspiration, the movement of air. Okay, the movement of air into and out of the lungs is carried out by creating a pressure gradient between the lungs and the atmosphere. Okay, a pressure gradient. Okay, that means for the intake of the air, some pressure gradient has to be developed. Okay, some pressure gradient has to be, yes, ma? Okay, some difference in the pressure. Here the pressure gradient means difference in the pressure has to be maintained. Okay, difference in the pressure has to be maintained between the lungs and the atmospheric air. Then only the air can enter into the lungs. Okay, how that pressure gradient is developed. Okay, for that purpose, what we have to do means we have to lower the, okay, that means always the air will flow from a high pressure to the low pressure. We know very well. Okay, always the air will moves from a high pressure to the low pressure. So that means what we have to do means we had to create some low pressure in the lungs. Inside the lungs, okay, we have to provide, okay, we have to create some low pressure. Some low pressure has to be created or provided in the or in the alveolar sac. Then only the air from the atmosphere can enter or can rush into the lungs. So how this pressure gradient is maintained or developed? So inspiration can occur if the pressure within the lungs is less than the atmospheric pressure. That is, there is a negative pressure in the lungs with respect to the atmospheric pressure. That means we have to develop some low pressure in the lungs than the atmospheric pressure. Okay, we have to develop some low pressure in the lungs than the atmospheric pressure. Then only the air can rush into the lungs. Only a pressure gradient will be developed, okay, between the atmospheric air and the lungs. Okay, that is so. As a result, the air can rush. Okay, a negative pressure, okay, a negative pressure can be developed in the lungs. Okay, has to be developed in the lungs. Then only the air can rush into the lungs from the atmosphere. Okay, that means in the atmosphere the pressure has to be more, and we have to create some low pressure in the lungs because of the difference in this pressure gradient. Okay, as a result, the air from the atmosphere can enter into the lungs. And at the same time, during expiration, okay, during expiration, the air has to be released outside or has to be sent outside. So now what we have to do means during expiration, we have to create high pressure in the lungs than the atmospheric pressure. Here also the pressure gradient. Okay, here also the pressure gradient is maintained. But here in a reverse manner, there is a high pressure in the lungs and a low pressure in the lung. Okay, we can't create a low pressure in the atmosphere because the atmospheric pressure remains constant. We can't change because that one we can't make, okay, do. But we can change the pressure in the lungs by creating certain or by providing set, okay, by creating, okay, by using certain events, by changing by causing some changes in the chest cavity, we can create some high pressure in the lungs. Okay, so because of the difference in this pressure, the air will be rushed out of the lungs into the atmosphere. So that is so. Similarly, expiration takes place when the intrapulmonary pressure is higher than the atmospheric pressure. So that means during inspiration, a low pressure has to be developed in the lungs, and during expiration, a high pressure has to be developed in the lungs. Then only during inspiration we can, okay, the lungs can take up the air when a low pressure is maintained. And during expiration, when the lungs maintain the high pressure, then only the air can be rushed outside. So how this low pressure and high pressure can be created in the lungs? It is all because of the muscles that are associated with the diaphragm mainly. Diaphragm mainly. Okay, that is the diaphragm and a specialized set of muscles. Okay, the diaphragm and a specialized set of muscles, that is external and internal intercostal between the ribs, help in generation of such gradients. Okay, the muscles that are associated with the diaphragm, we call it as phrenic muscles. We call it as phrenic muscles. Okay, the muscles. Okay, the muscles that are associated with the diaphragm and the muscles that are associated with the ribs, a specialized set of muscles, that is the external intercostal muscles and internal intercostal muscles. Okay, these are the two sets of muscles that are associated with the ribs. The muscles that are associated with the diaphragm, that is the phrenic muscles. All these muscles okay will helps in creating this pressure gradient in the lungs. Okay, there is okay, what happens means, okay, how the inspiration occurs means, inspiration is initiated by the contraction of the diaphragm. Okay, inspiration is initiated by the contraction of diaphragm, which increases the volume of thoracic chamber in the anterior posterior axis. Okay, when you observe here, we can observe here ma. Okay, when you observe here, we can see the diaphragm. Okay, when the muscles that are associated with the diaphragm undergoes contraction, the diaphragm becomes flat. Okay, that is when the muscles, okay, that is the phrenic muscles, we said no. When the muscles that are associated with the diaphragm undergoes contraction, the diaphragm becomes flattened and it is pulled downwards. As a result, the space in the chest cavity is increased in anterior posterior direction. That means in a lengthwise. Okay, upper region we call it as anterior end and the lower one we call it as posterior end. So in anterior posterior axis, the volume of the chest cavity is increased because of the contraction of the muscles that are associated with the diaphragm. The diaphragm is flattened and it is pulled downwards. As a result, the chest cavity enlarges in anterior posterior, okay, anterior posterior direction. Okay, as a result, okay, and along with this, not only
sir, anterior posterior means what, sir?
anterior, upper, okay, that is the upper to lower direction. Anterior means upper surface, upper region. Posterior means last, first and last. Anterior means towards the head. Posterior means towards the abdomen. So in this direction, in the lengthwise, the chest cavity is enlarged. In the lengthwise, that's why anterior, posterior. Okay, now, so first, from the muscles that are associated with the diaphragm will undergo contraction. okay, which increases the volume of thoracic chamber in the anterior posterior axis. That means the chest cavity is increased. Okay, a thoracic chamber is increased in anterior posterior axis, that is in lengthwise. And next, the contraction of external intercostal muscles lifts up the ribs and the sternum, causing an increase in the volume of thoracic chamber in the dorsoventral axis. Okay, that is okay. That means first the diaphragm, the muscles that are associated with the diaphragm will undergo contraction, which results in a which results in increasing the thoracic chamber in anterior posterior direction. And then along with this, what are the other muscles? Means the external intercostal muscles that are associated with the ribs and sternum will undergo contraction, and because of this contraction of this external intercostal muscles, what happens means the chest cavity or the thoracic chamber was enlarged in a dorsoventral surface. Dorsoventral surface, that means in the region of dorsoventral, that is that is in the opposite to that of that diaphragm in lengthwise, now it is in widthwise, we can say. In widthwise, the chest cavity or the thoracic chamber is enlarged. So because of the contraction of diaphragm and due to the contraction of this external intercostal muscles, overall what is happening means the thoracic chamber is enlarged. The total, that means because of all these two muscles undergoing contraction, overall what is happening means the thoracic chamber is enlarged. The thoracic chamber is enlarged. Understood, all of you? Anybody is having any doubt in this one?
Sir, the diaphragm is contracted upwards or downwards, sir?
Okay, the
while
diaphragm,
inhaling.
okay, it is not undergoing upward or downward. Okay, it is it becomes flat and pulled downwards. Okay, here the contraction means here the muscle contraction means expand. Okay, in general contract means decrease in size, but in muscle contraction means expand. Relaxation means normal state. But in normal terms, contract means decrease in size, relax means enlarge in size. That is what the general. But when coming to muscles, if I say muscle undergone contraction means it expanded. If I say muscle is undergone relaxation means it comes to the normal state, that is decrease. Understand? So when the muscles that are associated with the diaphragm undergoes contraction, it causes the increase in the size of the diaphragm. Before it is a dome shaped, now it becomes flattened and pulled downward. As a result, the thoracic chamber is enlarged in a anterior posterior direction. And then next, along with this diaphragm muscles, the muscles that are associated with the ribs, that is external intercostal muscles, also undergo contraction, which will help in enlargement of ribs and sternum in dorsoventral region, in the direction of dorsoventral axis. As a result, because of these two events, what happens overall? The thoracic chamber is enlarged. That is that we can see. The overall increase in the thoracic volume causes a similar increase in pulmonary volume. So because we already said the thoracic chamber is a airtight chamber. So whenever the thoracic chamber is enlarged, whenever the thoracic chamber is enlarged, okay, it causes the enlargement of the lungs simultaneously. Okay. Okay, it causes the enlargement of the pulmonary cavity. Okay, pulmonary volume. Pulmonary volume means that is the lungs. Understand? Okay, the overall increase in the thoracic volume causes a similar increase in pulmonary volume. An increase in pulmonary volume decreases the intrapulmonary pressure to less than the pressure, which forces the air from outside to move into the lungs. That is inspiration. So that means, okay, without any air is entered into the lungs, here before, okay, up to now, there is no entry of the air, but there is an increase in the volume of the lungs. Because of the increase in the thoracic cavity, it caused the enlargement of the lungs, but there is no entry of air from outside. So what happens? The pressure that is present inside the lungs will be decreased, which creates the negative pressure. Okay, because of this negative pressure, what happens? The air from the atmosphere will rushes into the lungs through the respiratory passage. That is external nostrils, nasal passage, nasal chamber, internal nostrils, pharynx, trachea, bronchi, primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi. Okay, and next initial bronchioles, and next finally to the terminal bronchioles, and finally reaches the alveolar chamber. Okay, to compensate that pressure that is decreased. Okay, how much volume that is increased, or how much pressure that is decreased, how much volume the lungs are increased. Okay, which, okay, that one will create that much negative pressure. Okay, to compensate that negative pressure, the air will rush from atmosphere into the lungs. Okay, and this process we are calling it as inspiration. Understood, all of you? Anybody is having any doubt regarding inspiration?
No, sir.
Okay, inspiration. And next, after inspiration, okay, it is followed by the expiration. How the expiration will occur means, first the relaxation of the diaphragm. The muscles that are associated with the diaphragm will undergo relaxation, and the internal intercostal muscles, okay, the relaxation of diaphragm and the intercostal muscles, that is internal intercostal muscles, returns the diaphragm and sternum to their normal positions and reduce the thoracic volume, thereby the pulmonary volume. Okay, before, okay, we can see here it is flat, but okay, when you observe here, okay, when you observe the okay, here it is flat, but when you observe here the diaphragm here, it is dome shaped. Okay, it is a little bit more curved. It is a little bit more curved. Okay, it is a little bit more curved. Why? Because here the diaphragm, because of the contraction of the muscles that are associated with the diaphragm, okay, it will be, okay, it will comes to the normal state, that is dome shaped, decreasing the volume of thoracic cavity in anterior posterior direction. And along with that, the intercostal muscles that are associated with the ribs and sternum also will relax, and also bring the sternum and the ribs to the normal state. Okay, as a result, the thoracic chamber is also decreased in dorsoventral axis. As a result, overall, the thoracic volume is decreased, which will apply some pressure on the lungs, to reduce the volume of the lungs. As a result, the pulmonary volume also decreases, which will increases the pressure inside the lungs. As a result,
Sir, while we are exhaling, the pressure will increase or decrease, sir.
okay, during expiration, the pressure in the lungs is increased. Okay. So, during expiration, the pressure inside the lungs is increased. That is what you have to understand. Okay, how this pressure inside the lungs is increased means, the pressure inside the lungs is increased because the diaphragm comes to the normal state, normal position, and the ribs and sternum came to the normal, decreasing the thoracic volume, which in turn applies some pressure on the lungs, which will also reduces the size of the lungs. As a result, it will create some pressure inside the lungs. It will increases the pressure inside the lungs, the air that is present inside the lungs. As a result, the air will be rushed outside, and this process we are calling it as expiration. Okay, now understood? Anybody is having any doubt during for inspiration and expiration?
No.
Okay, that means overall decrease.
Sir,
one minute. Let me complete. Overall decrease in the thoracic volume will create some pressure on the lungs. As a result, the volume of the lungs also decreases. In turn, it will create some pressure, or it will increases the pressure in the air that is present in the lungs. As a result, because of that increased pressure in the air that is present in the lungs, it helps in pushing the air outside of the lungs into the atmosphere. Now, Seema, what is your doubt?
Sir, what is the normal shape of diaphragm when the lungs is present, sir?
Okay, under normal, under relaxed state, it will be in dome shaped. Here you can see, it is a curved now. This is the normal stage, relaxed stage. But when you observe here, it is a little bit flattened, not that much curved.
Yes, sir.
And the difference here, okay? I'll reduce. Okay, now you can see. Okay, now you can see the shape. Okay, it is a more curved here. Here it is a little bit flat, not that much curve. Okay, this is the relaxed state.
Yes, sir.
This is the relaxed state. The lower one is the relaxed state, and the upper one is the contracted state. We can see here, okay, there is an increase. So the air is rushing into the lungs. Here, because of the decrease in the, we can see there is more size of the lungs. The red color is the lung. Okay, the red color is the lung. Okay, and this light okay, violet color okay, violet color or blue color we are observing, that is the space of the thoracic cavity, and this is the sternum, the ribs, and the lower one is the diaphragm. Okay, during during contraction we can see the air is entering into the lungs, and during relaxation, the okay, because of increased pressure in the lungs, the air is expelled outside of the lungs. Okay, that is, so that is okay, so that's how the okay, that is okay, we have the ability to increase the strength of inspiration and expiration with the help of additional muscles in the abdomen. Okay, during deep breath we can take the deep breath and a deep expiration also. Okay, deep inspiration and deep expiration. So by deep inspiration, what we can increase the volume of the air that is inspired, and by deep expiration we can increase the volume of the expelled air also. So that means we have the ability to increase the strength of inspiration and expiration with the help of additional muscles that are present in the abdomen. Okay, that is on an average, a healthy human breathes 12 to 16 times per minute. Breathing, okay, not a heartbeat. A heartbeat is different, breathing rate is different. Heart rate is different, breathing rate is different. Okay, a healthy human breathes around 12 to 16 times per minute. Okay, that is the volume of the
But it differs now, sir.
it will differ. It will depends upon the condition.
During running,
But yes. Okay, under normal, that's why on an average, a healthy human breathes 12 to 16 times. This is a normal condition, not during exercise or during a okay heavy work. Under normal
okay, sir.
conditions, static condition. Okay, na, that is okay. Okay, that one we'll discuss later. Okay, the volume of air involved in breathing movements can be estimated by using a spirometer. That means what is the instrument that is used, okay, to calculate the volume of the air that is breathed in. Okay, is used, okay, is done by using an instrument called spirometer, which helps in a clinical assessment of pulmonary functions. So by using, okay, by estimating the volume of the air, by using spirometer, we can estimate the condition of that person, whether he is in a healthy condition or in any other changes in the okay, the lungs. That means any problem with the lungs, that can also be estimated by calculating the volume of the air. Okay, that is breathing in, okay, breathing take, okay, during breathing by using this spirometer.